Hello there, and how's everyone today? Welcome back to Just Talking Business, where we are talking to business owners about their pivot plan. I am Stephanie Van Bark, and I'm a small business owner, and we are going to learn some really good information today about the organizing industry, which is very interesting to me because I kind of pride myself on being a secret organizer. I don't know if I could definitely do the business, but for the first time, I get to talk to somebody and figure out what it does. So here we are. Meet Jennifer Williams. How are you today?
Hi, Stephanie. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you today. I love your intro.
Oh,
I
thank you.
that this is loving that. That was fun.
Gives me a little hype. You ready
Yeah,
for
it was
the
great.
So listen, I was telling everybody right before that, I kind of pride myself on being sort of a secret organizer. And that's one of those industries I'm intrigued by because I think I'm kind of good at it. But at any rate, tell us who you are and what you do. And then we want to get into the meat and the bones of the industry.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Jennifer Williams, and I am the founder and president of a company called St. Louis Closet Company. What we do is we design, manufacture, and install custom closets and organizational systems for both residential clients and commercial clients. Most of our business is in the home, and we do everything from closets to home offices, pantries, laundry rooms, garages, basements, mud rooms. So we can really organize, close to 20 different areas of the home. How we work is we offer free estimates. We come into the home, we measure the space that the client wants to get organized, and then we design with 3D design software, which is fabulous. You can really get the feel of what your closet's going to be. And we'll design shelving and the double hanging, the 2 tiers of rods, shelves for your purses and your shoes and belt racks and tie racks and drawers and baskets. And we can really custom design any space for your needs. You said you love being organized. My mom says that I was organizing my closet when I was in middle school. And I started this business 34 years ago when I was 25. And I had started working out for another closet company. I was in graduate school, waiting tables, and working part-time for another closet company that was brand new. And after 2 weeks working there, I fell in love with what I was doing. And I said, this is it. You know how you just, sometimes you don't know, right? I was in graduate school. What are you going to do? I didn't know, like many college kids and even graduate students. And I took this part-time job, and literally after 2 weeks, I knew this was it. I just knew it.
So that's a good segue into my first question because, as much as I like to think I'm an organizer, I don't know a lot of people who've said, I want to get into this industry, and even to the extent that you've gotten into this industry. So how'd you start? Because, working for someone is completely different from starting a business like this. And I have to say I'm impressed because that means you have to have inventory or, some construction skills or people that know construction work for you. That's a heavy lift.
It is.
What was your starting point to get to this?
Well, my starting point, I didn't have a business background. I was communications and public relations. I thought I would get into marketing. But I just loved this so much. So I started out with, I need a business plan and I need a loan, because that's how I was going to get. So I needed money and I needed a plan. So I actually went to a small business administration class. It was a 1-day class, how to write a business plan. And, as silly as that sounds, I had no business classes, no background. Now, I did come from an entrepreneurial family. So owning and running my own business wasn't a foreign idea. My parents owned their own business. My grandparents owned their own business. But this was something totally new. So I think I learned in that 1-day class, okay, these are the basics, right? You need to get you need a startup loan, and you need to have a spreadsheet with your finances, and you need probably a lawyer to get you incorporated, and the real basics of starting a business. So I had figured out, this is pre-internet. I remind my
Right.
kids of that all the time. Like, you couldn't just Google, how do you start a
Right.
clothing company?
You got to,
Right.
had to search some information out. Go
So
talk to
what I
these people.
did was, as I started researching the industry, and I actually drove around to a couple neighboring cities that had closet companies, because I couldn't necessarily go knock on my competitor's door and say, "Oh, hi, teach me your business."
Right.
But I was able to drive to Kansas City, Missouri, and to Chicago, Illinois, and introduce myself and meet other closet company owners and be like, show me what you're doing. This is what I want to do in St. Louis. Help me out. So that is really how I got started. I
Mhm.
went to the banks with my business plan and all my ideas. And I said,
Right.
I need $50,000.
Mhm.
And everybody's like, what? Like, how old are you? Do you have a cosigner? Do you
Right.
have collateral? And I'm like, what's a cosigner? What's collateral? I didn't even know. I didn't even know. So finally, you learn as you go. And I
Mhm.
think when you're young, you're willing to take more risks,
Mhm.
right? So you're sort of able to be like, well, let's just go for it. If it doesn't work, I'll do something else.
Right.
And so I think I had the tenacity to just keep going. And I finally got a banker who was like, Jennifer, come on in, show me what you got. And by the end of the meeting, he's like, okay, I think you'll be approved for an SBA loan,
Okay.
and we can give you 35,000 of your 50. You need 15 of your own. So I said, okay, sure. No problem. I'll get that, which
Okay.
I didn't have that kind of money at all. And so what I did is I went out that weekend and I opened up a bunch of credit cards, and I
Oh.
self-financed $15,000 of office supplies, installation tools. I leased a van. I signed a lease on a small office and warehouse building. And I went back in the next Monday and I said, okay, here's my receipts. And he said, well, that's not exactly what I was
What I
talking
meant.
about. It wasn't exactly what meant.
Didn't have to be
Um,
today.
so he said, but we'll go with it. So they gave me the loan,
Mhm.
and I just got started. Now, my background was in marketing, and I really believed that the custom closet industry, up until that, it was still very new. 34
Mhm.
years ago, it was a very new industry. And all of the places that I had talked to and seen were treating the industry as a construction industry. They were
Mhm.
treating it as like a cabinet company. And I was like, no, this is marketing 101. This is a lifestyle. This is a product that people are going to spend money on, and they're going to love it. They're going to open their closet door every day and be like, oh my gosh, I'm organized. This is amazing.
Mhm.
So I started really promoting and marketing, which was my background, the benefits of my service, so that they could see, wow, if I have an organized closet, I'm going to save 10 minutes a day. I'll be able
Mhm.
to find stuff. My kids will be able to find their backpacks and their homework. So I treated the business different than the
Mhm.
industry was going. Now today, I feel like it's become, a total marketing
Mhm.
industry.
Absolutely.
People
Absolutely.
see it, and there are professional organizers in our industry that actually are just people that come into the house and they'll help you clean out your closet. They'll help you fold your clothes. They'll get you matching hangers. They'll pour your cereal boxes into those clear bins and put labels on them and make it all pretty. We don't do that. We build the actual shelving, drawers, hanging, the foundation of the system. So we try to create a home for all of your items. And once you have a place for everything, it's so much easier to stay organized.
So a person would, and I'm sorry, it sounded like I got an echo. So a person would come to you solely for that, but do you work in partnership with maybe one of the organizers like
Mhm.
you mentioned before, or are they sort of essential in helping you to market to their clients as well?
Absolutely, both. We partner with. We have 5 professional organizers that we partner with, and we work hand in hand,
Okay.
because sometimes I'll go into a customer's home, and you've seen that show on TV, Hoarders,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you open up the door and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Um, new shelving is not going to help you.
Right.
You need to declutter first.
Okay.
You need to really go through your stuff, because if you have a problem with too much stuff, or you are so unorganized and the clutter is just coming out the doors, right? You need more than closet shelving. You
Right.
need you need to declutter. You need to really go through your home or your office and figure out, what do I really need and what's going on here? Because I can go put my beautiful closet system in, and if they're not willing to really use the system correctly or declutter their lives, it's not going to change.
Mhm. Now
So,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, so that's when we really partner and value that relationship with the professional organizers.
So you're able to help serve one another and
Hmm.
bring each other to the table. So you tapped on something kind of interesting we were talking about many moons ago. This was not a thing, and that's true. I believe that because I've been around that around the time too to know. Um, it feels like you're right. It is construction, so I would imagine that that feels like it's more of a male dominant industry.
Hmm.
But I'm very interested as a woman what you feel like you do bring to the industry. And I think about, you know, a woman is probably the person that's going to think through some of the benefits you were talking about. It's not just about being pretty, it's going to save time in your life, it's going to help your kids be. Those are the questions a woman could answer for someone in this industry. Do you think that's been a benefit for you? And
Absolutely.
open
100%. Now,
opportunities.
in the beginning, when the industry was new,
Mhm,
and I was young, it was a bit of a hurdle.
mhm.
It definitely was, because a lot of the builders we would be, exposed to when people were building new homes, they were like, Wait, what is this? Who are you?" Well, this young girl doing what? Wait a minute. Um, but I think that what I bring is what I want in my own house,
Mhm.
right? I want somebody to come into my house, and I want them to care about my home, care about my things, treat my house with respect, treat me with respect, treat my time with respect. And I feel like in the home improvement business in general,
Mhm.
people tend to come in and tear up the yard, and they'll not show up when they say they're not going to show, they're going to be there, and then they don't show. They come into your house, a 3-day job turns into a 3-week job, and I pride myself on knowing that that doesn't work in people's homes with their lives.
Right.
So we, in 34 years, knock on wood, have never missed an appointment. We have never missed an installation date. We are in and out of everybody's house in one day. And
Oh,
if we're
good.
not done, we will stay until it's done. Because imagine if I'm going to come organize your closet. Where are you going to put all your clothes? Right?
Right.
You're going to put them on your bed. So you need to sleep that night. So
Right.
you need that closet done. I can't be in your house for 3 weeks putting a closet in.
Right. Right. Right.
So I sort of think that being a woman business owner, I don't know if it's like I care more about the
The small
home, the small things,
things that,
the
yeah.
processes,
Yeah.
the communication with the person. When you call here, you get a person.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And customer service is so, so important to me.
I agree.
And I would like to say that in 34 years we've never made a mistake, and that's not true. We make mistakes, but the thing that we do is we fix those mistakes
Mhm.
immediately, whether it's our fault or not. People say, well, the customer is always right. Well, sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. But in our business, the customer is always right. And I
Right.
am fortunate enough that I have a business that I can go back and correct things if they're not right. And, a happy customer will tell 3 people.
Right.
An unhappy customer that you turn around and make happy, and you fix their problems immediately, and you apologize and you deal with it, they're going to tell 15 people.
Correct. Correct.
They're going
Correct.
to be like, we had a problem, and Jennifer and her company came out and they fixed it immediately. They went above and beyond. They didn't argue with me. It was amazing. And so that's the thing that I really try to tell all small business owners. Like, yes, you may lose money on one job, but that's okay, because that job, if as long as that customer is a raving fan when
Right.
you're done,
Right.
That's all you need, because guess what? They're going to save you advertising dollars because they're going to tell everybody they know
Right.
how
That's true.
great your
That's
business
so
is.
true. And that's a lost art these days, that focus on customer service. And in particular with what you do, because it's so connected to home, and let's face it, it can be a little expensive. You don't have the luxury of arguing with your client.
Well, right. And I don't want to, because I want every customer to be
Right.
100%. I mean, 100% happy. You know, my husband is also a business owner, and he started his business when he was 15. He owned a DJ company, and they did,
Okay.
music for weddings and
Oh,
high school dances and stuff. And imagine if you're a DJ and you're doing somebody's wedding. Well, once that wedding's over, you can't go back and replay music or fix
you're right.
something somebody accidentally said on the microphone. I feel very fortunate that I have a business that
You can.
I can fix things, I can make things better, and I can make you happy. I can make you happy 100% of the time. And I don't know if that's being a woman or it's just being the way I want to be treated.
Okay. Okay.
I also think that treating my business and industry as a lifestyle, more of the marketing focus, as opposed to, oh, we use these screws and this metal
Mhm,
slide.
mhm, mhm.
And I'm like, okay, we do use those metal slides and those screws. That's great. But let me show you how many pair of shoes you're going to be able to fit in your closet.
Right.
Let me show you where you're going to be able to put your purses. Let's talk about, do you hang your pants over a hanger or long? And those are the type of things that my customers, who are 90% women, really, really appreciate.
Correct. 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 Exactly. Exactly. You can speak their lingo. You can
Mhm.
speak their jargon. Um, so how would you scale? So I read in your bio, and let me read directly. It said you are the first locally owned floor-based closet company, which meaning it's a local market. Um, how do you scale in terms of strategically in a way that's going to definitely build you in more clients, or is it more you focus on repeat clients? What is your scalability and how are you strategizing around that?
Well, we are a local business. We service the St. Louis metropolitan area, which is about a 50-mile radius. Um, we are not a franchise. I don't want a franchise.
Ooh.
We are, just in our area. And how we've grown through the years is by, 52% of our business is repeat and referral business.
Oh,
So
really?
that's a huge percentage of our growth.
Right.
But we have continued to offer more and more different lines and different options with our products. So we started out just doing your basic closets, right? Well,
Mhm.
then all of a sudden it was like, wait, home offices and pantries and garages. And although it's a similar type system,
Mhm.
it requires different hardware, maybe, or different materials or different design skills. So we continuously grew by adding to our existing product line.
Okay. Okay.
And then about 15 years ago, one of our biggest growths was we started uh, designing and manufacturing and installing Murphy beds.
Okay. Okay.
People love Murphy beds.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now Murphy beds are not new. Murphy beds have been around. I think there's an I Love Lucy show where she gets stuck in the wall in an old Murphy bed. So Murphy
That's
beds are not new. However, the newer Murphy beds are incredibly comfortable, incredibly functional, take up very little space in your room. And we are starting to see so many people downsizing. The baby boomers are all downsizing. They're selling their 3 and 4 bedroom houses and they're moving to a 2 bedroom condo or a retirement community. And they still want to have a guest bed,
Mhm.
but maybe they don't have the luxury of having that room just a bed all the time. So by having a Murphy bed, they can also turn that room into a home office or an exercise room. The new hot term with designers these days are flex rooms. And
Okay.
a flex room is something that can be used for, maybe it's your kids' arts and craft room, their homework room, but it's also their sleepover with their friends room with the Murphy bed.
Right.
So by offering different products, by continuing to grow and then spend more marketing dollars to, get more incoming business. That's how we have grown. I feel like we've grown a lot in 34 years, but we've grown very slowly and steadily.
Okay. Okay.
Because that's what I was comfortable with. I never wanted to get rid of the customer service aspect by growing too quickly, or by taking on something that I couldn't control, like becoming a franchise or opening in another city. If we have one of my installers calls in sick, well, I'm not going to call that customer and cancel. We're going to figure it out from right here. So I wanted to have that control of making sure my customers were always happy.
Now, you said your product is the Murphy bed. Are there any other products that you manufacture, or is that the one product that you really are driving home?
No, we manufacture everything we install.
Really? Okay.
Every
Awesome.
single thing. So we have a 25,000 square foot manufacturing plant, and we bring 100% of the materials in, raw materials, big sheets of wood, big cases of hardware, big cases, and we manufacture everything per the designs that my designers do in the house. So everything is custom down to the millimeter.
Gotcha.
So there's no pre-made parts. So we can really, really customize your space.
Very nice. So you were talking a moment ago about how you really wanted, you don't want to give up the customer service part of your world, and you want to be able to make sure you can meet the needs of the customer. I would imagine deciding not to franchise and grow to other cities is also a thought around just trying to keep a balanced life. I said before, I like to ask, in particular women, this, but not only women. Based on your bio, you are a businesswoman, you're a mother, you're a husband, and you're also very connected to your community. How do you do all that? Tell me about your day. Like, what does your day consist of?
I've been up since 4 a.m. So I'm on my 13th standing hour, and it's in St. Louis right now. It's not even 5 o'clock. So I am blessed with the best husband in the entire world. As I mentioned earlier, he's a fellow entrepreneur, and he's my sounding board. We actually met at a young entrepreneurs luncheon.
Oh, very interesting.
So that's awesome. So, and then we have two amazing kids. We have a 25-year-old son and a 22-year-old daughter who are both out of college and doing their own thing and doing fabulous. But how do I manage? I mean, I'm not a big sleeper. Sometimes I wish I slept more. But when they were little, I brought them to work with me. It was important for me to be around my kids when they were little, but it was important for me to be at my business every day too. So I hired a babysitter that would come to work with me 3 or 4 days a week when they were little, and that way they could be around. But if I was in a meeting or doing something, they could, be with the babysitter. And then my husband and I were very fortunate that we could put our kids in an amazing school that was close to our work, that had incredible before care and after care programs. So it really, was nice. We could run over there anytime from work because it was super close to see their plays or their art shows and things like that. But we also, knew that we could work a full day of work and that they were, at a great place. So, but one of the benefits of owning your own business is the flexibility you may be able to have with your schedule. And I'm not saying that you don't have to work much when you own your business, because you actually work more.
Exactly.
But you can work at different hours. I can work at 4 a.m. I can work at midnight if I need to. So I had the flexibility when my kids were young and growing up to be able to be there, to be the room mother, be at all my daughter's sporting events.
Wow.
And that was hugely important to me. And then, giving back to the community. I feel like the St. Louis community is what just carried me on their backs, right? They're the ones that supported my business from the beginning. They're like, oh, this young entrepreneur from St. Louis, she went to Kirkwood High School. We're going to support her. And when I finally got to the point in my business where I was ready to give back, it was important for me to give back to the local St. Louis community.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did all the things. We did all the things small businesses do. We would sponsor a softball team. We would donate a gift card to an auction. And it was here and there and the little things. And I didn't really feel like this was impactful, right?
Right.
So I very consciously made an effort in 2019 that I was going to come up with something that really made a difference
Mhm.
and I felt really good about. So I created a program called Closets for a Cause, where we partner each month, each quarter with a local charity. And we partner with them. We don't just write them a check. We will will promote their charities through all of our social media and our websites. We will invite them into our showroom and let them use our conference room and our facilities to have their meetings and their events. We'll distribute their literature to all of our customers that month.
Yes.
We will, you know, some charities will donate a portion of our proceeds from sales that month back to the charity.
Mhm.
Some months we'll do a collection in our showroom and we'll say, okay, Toys for Tots. We do Toys for Tots every year, the local charity here. And we have our customers bring in new toys.
Oh, cool.
And then we'll give the customers an extra discount off their closet.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So this past year, we were the #1 biggest collection site in St. Louis for toys. It's fabulous. And we just finished up our winter warm-up program with the Winter Outreach Charity. We had such a cold winter here. And the homeless and the sheltered population in St. Louis is growing.
Okay.
And here I have all these amazing customers that have too many coats.
Right. Right.
Like they need to clean out their coat closet, right? I mean, they need to. And here there's these people sleeping on the streets with no coats. So I was like, wait a minute, let's figure this out. So we did, it's a coat drive, but I am telling you, we had 4 truckloads of
Oh,
coats. They were coming, and we were actually just talking about it right before I got on with you and how successful it was. And our clients were so happy, and they were donating some of the nicest stuff, new stuff, gently used stuff. The coats, they were piling up. We had to keep taking them, and it was so cold, we just kept delivering them to the shelters and the homeless during the collection.
nice.
So what I've done is I've turned my giving back into like I said, it's a partnership with the charity. So it's a win-win. Right.
Yeah,
and I always try to tell small businesses when they say, well, I can't afford to donate to charities, right? I'm just barely making. And I'm like, well, let's think outside the box
right.
and come up with something that benefits you and them. How can you work together? Like for us, it is beneficial for us for these charities to put on their social media sites. Oh, St. Louis Closet Company's doing a coat drive for us. Well, that's a win-win. They get coats. We get some publicity maybe in front of people that didn't know about us.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So figuring out a way to be charitable, it doesn't always require time or a checkbook. Sometimes it can be a different way to do it with your business.
Mm-hmm. So now let me tap into your marketing skills. I'm interested to learn. You and I are, as I can imagine, are about the same age. And when you started in the marketing world, of course, we said this way before internet, and marketing was completely different.
Yes.
As you and I sit here today on this platform having this conversation, it's completely different. First of all, do you still do your marketing? I would imagine no, you've actually got a team at this point. But how have you seen it evolve, and how have you been able to lean into that evolution or that change?
Well, for those of us who remember, when I started, the only important thing, the only important thing was my Yellow Pages ad.
Yes, I remember
Yellow Pages ad, and you needed to be, in the right place. You had to have an ad bigger than your competitors. You sometimes would put the letter A in front of your name so you'd get listed first. And the book only came out once a year. So if you missed that publication, you were in trouble. And that was the biggest deal. Now my kids, I don't even think know what a Yellow Pages is. the transition from a yellow pages to what we have today. And I am actually still very, very involved with our marketing. I do have an amazing PR firm that works for me. I have an amazing team that does all the Google analytics and SEO and all that stuff, which I don't understand.
Right.
And then I have an amazing marketing coordinator that works here in the office with me every day. And her and I do pretty much everything else. Now it's such a struggle. I think marketing is such a challenge because of all the different platforms. And small businesses, it's hard to know what's working.
It can be over.
You got this many you got 700,000 impressions and 4,500 clicks. And I'm like, yeah, but the phone didn't ring.
Right. Are they converting to actual sales?
So, I mean, is this working or not? And then, people are inundated with so much information. We ask every single person that calls, how did you hear about us? And most people don't know. They were like, I don't know. I think I heard about you. A friend told me, or I don't know, maybe I Googled you, or I think I saw an ad somewhere, and maybe I heard you on the radio. Yeah, whereas in the beginning, people would be like, I'm holding a postcard that you mailed me. I looked you up, and they knew exactly.
The yellow pages, yeah.
The yellow pages. Mm-hmm. So marketing is not easy. And I feel like the whole digital aspect of marketing is changing so rapidly. So rapidly. Google's analytics, I think, change by the minute. Mm-hmm. And I think they're listening to us right now. And Google, it's kind of like a drug. You have to be there, but then you don't know if it's working. And then you're like, you just keep putting more and more money in. You're like, oh, well, if you give it more money, it'll work better. And then it'll work good for a day. And then it doesn't work. And you're like, oh no, they changed. And you're back and forth. So it's a challenge. Yeah. Marketing is not easy. And you have to sort of really know your audience. You have to know your customer. Mm-hmm. And, I think in the olden days when I was in college in marketing, I think the rule was people had to see or hear your name 7 times. Mm-hmm. And I bet now it's 70 to 100 times mm-hmm. because of all the noise. I'm sure there's a real statistic. I'm just making that up. So don't quote me on that, but there's just so much noise in our lives. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And whether it's, digital, where do you get your news anymore? Well, I used to have 3 TV stations to get your news.
Right.
And now, my daughter gets all her news from Snapchat.
Right. Oh God, that's scary.
I know, but it's like, this is how our world is evolving and it's moving so quickly. And I think it is a challenge, definitely moving forward for small business owners to be able to position yourself to compete with the large corporations and the large franchises because they have more money and more tools. And it's hard to be a standalone small business and compete with national brands.
Do you have a marketing budget? Because I know that's a challenge we have a lot when we're talking to small businesses in our market. There's never a real marketing budget. It's just if I have some extra money. Have you started to set a marketing budget that you can stick to and that you feel like is what is needed to build a business?
Yeah, we've had a marketing budget since day one. And my budget is always, I always set it the year before. I'm not saying it doesn't change or doesn't fluctuate, but I tried to set it the year before. And when we're in we are going to grow this year, we are ready. We've got the infrastructure, we got the people, we're ready to go. Then my marketing budget is going to be 10% of gross sales.
Gotcha. Okay.
We're in a period where I'm like, okay, we can't hire people, or, oh my gosh, it's COVID. What's going to happen? Or the Great Recession in 2008, it's like, let's just make sure we stay alive. So let's keep our marketing budget at, the 5 to 7% of last year's gross sales.
Gotcha.
And, once again, it's not an exact science because we always try to do something new. Like somebody comes in and they're like, okay, well, let's try it. Let's see if we get any traction from that while still, doing all of the things that we know we have to do.
That's interesting. Speaking of 2008, when was there a time that you can remember where you had to pivot in order to stay alive? You just mentioned 2008. I would imagine COVID was one of those situations.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share a
9/11.
little bit? Not,
9/11.
I never thought about that. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good point.
Yeah,
So,
9/11. Yeah.
what were some strategies you had to put into place in order to stay alive first? And then how have you been able to implement some of those things going forward so you're ready for the next time around? Or can you be ready for the next time around?
Well, if we look back in history, we had the birth of my son. I don't know, the first one.
Oh,
You're never ready for that. That was sort of a time. And then immediately after that was 9/11 and the birth of my daughter.
no.
Who could have ever predicted that? And then the recession of 2008. My business was growing so fast in 2006 that we had outgrown our building. We were renting trailers for the parking lot to put extra materials in. And we were like, we have to move. We have to get a bigger space. We bought a building. We gutted it. We were rehabbing it. We spent more money, time, and energy on the building we're currently in now. And we were moving in 2008.
Ooh.
And someone turned off the light switches. And our business went from way up here to 50% lower. And here we had this big, huge, new, beautiful building with a big, huge, beautiful new loan. And our sales were cut in half.
Right.
And then our old building wouldn't sell. So it
Wow.
was
So
such
you
a
carrying
challenge.
2 mortgages.
We had 2 loans on 2 buildings,
Wow.
and we had to cut costs. We had to pull it in. We had to become as profitable as we could be just to wait that out. And it was a slow, slow, slow climb out of 2008. And we
How long
finally,
was that? It was just that year?
oh no, no,
It's
it
still,
probably
right.
took us, yeah, 5,
Okay.
6 years to
To bounce
fully get back to where we were when we moved into the building.
back.
Um, And then we're zooming along great. And then March of 2020, I like to remind people, they said, we're going to close everything for 2 weeks,
Right.
2 weeks, and we're going to flatten the curve. Everybody go home just for 2 weeks.
Right.
Two
And
and
it
a half
just
years
didn't work.
later, we were
Not at all.
still dealing with COVID. So I was actually on spring break in Florida in March of 2020 with my daughter's high school senior trip. And this is all happening so fast.
Mhm.
We were in Florida, and the news stories were saying they're going to close the border because everybody in Florida was partying and everybody in the rest of the country was freaking out, and they're not going to let people out of Florida. Well,
Wow.
I was panicking. I was like, we got to leave. So I yanked my daughter out of her senior spring break trip. We drive back to Missouri. I bring all my employees in, and I'm like, we're going to close for 2 weeks. Everybody go home. I'm going to still pay everybody. They say 2 weeks and this is over. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to, scared, nothing. We were closed for 2 days and the customers started calling.
Really?
What do you mean you're closed? We're all stuck at home. I have to work from home. My kids have to go to school at home. My husband's not leaving every day. I've got all these people in my house. I need a home office. I need to organize my kids. I need my kids to have a place to
That's
study.
interesting.
And they couldn't, nobody was going out to dinner. Nobody was going to baseball games. Nobody was going to concerts, and nobody was planning trips. So they started immediately spending money on their home because everybody was home. And the organizational part of my business allows us to come in and, make spaces that are not functional.
Right.
And all of a sudden I had customers like, you can't close. You have to come here. So I thought, okay, well, maybe this is an opportunity if we can figure this out. So I called all my employees back and we had a meeting. We were standing 6 foot apart. We were wearing masks. And I said, our customers want us to work. I think we can do this safely. I had to go out and buy more installation vehicles because I could no longer send 2 people in a van together.
Mm-hmm.
And we invested, I don't know, more money than I've probably ever spent in my life on Clorox wipes and goggles and masks and cleaning supplies because we had to Clorox wipe we would go to the customer's house and we would Clorox wipe the handle of their door every time we would go in and out. When we were done, they had to sanitize the closet. They were working in masks. And it turned out to be 2.5 years of some of the best growth our company has ever had. Now, we had a lot of expenses during that to make that work. But thankfully, for my industry, in my business in particular, people were spending money on their homes like crazy. And it was amazing. It was a struggle. And we had to talk about pivoting. I mean, we had to pivot. We had to figure things out. And, every day somebody would call and say, I'm sorry, you can't come to my house. Somebody just tested positive for COVID.
Okay.
And especially in that first year before the vaccine, I mean, nobody knew. We look back now and it almost seems like a science fiction movie. It doesn't seem like we really lived through this, but I was scared. I was scared that one of my employees was going to get sick or something was going to happen. And so we had to be so careful.
That's very, very interesting that because COVID shut my industry down completely. That's how this show evolved. So it's very interesting. And I would imagine that also you got support from some of the loan opportunities that were out there that kind of could keep you afloat until y'all could really get back on your feet. But it seems like you definitely got back on your feet.
Well, we literally were closed for 2 days.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
So, I mean, it was, I mean, I didn't sleep. I aged a lot during COVID because we were so busy. So busy. And I had some employees that chose not to come back to work because they were, 3 of my best salespeople were older and they were really, really scared with their health. And so, we lost them and that was sad. They 3 of them retired during COVID. And then we had a couple installers that did not feel safe working in people's homes.
I get it.
So
who are your competitors? I'm thinking of a big conglomerate right now that's right down the street from me. But is that who you are most concerned about, and how do you compete?
My competitors are all national franchises, and they have a lot of money. And they can literally come into a city and buy up all the TV, all the radio, all the direct mail, all the Valpak coupons. And I think they get it for a fraction of a price because they're buying, nationwide. So when we go back to marketing, it's hard to compete with that budget.
Right.
How do we compete? We try to, I will never, ever talk bad about a competitor. Never. And I don't allow my salespeople or my employees to talk bad. What we try to do is educate our customers as to why we think we're better. And I think going back to the locally owned, woman owned, we're right here. We are right here, and show them this is what we're doing. We're not only manufacturing right here in your community, we're employing people in your community, but we're giving back to your community also. Wow. And are these franchises doing the same thing? And, that, and I think that once again, we've been doing this for 34 years and we have a great reputation and we have great repeats and referrals, and people know me and they know that I'm here and that I'm going to make them happy. And I think that goes a long way. In home improvement, that goes a long way.
Are you looking to have a succession plan? I think we talked about it briefly before. I don't know if you want to bring that up, but are you looking to have a succession plan, or right now it's just full steam ahead and then, we'll see where it goes in a couple of years?
Well, my 24, almost 25-year-old son started working for me about 1.5 years ago, and he's doing fabulous. He's our director of operations. So, I'm not ready to retire yet. I think I have a few more years in me, and I love what I do. I love the challenges. I haven't really thought about that. People are like, well, what's next? My husband and I love to travel. I would love to travel. I think maybe someday I might write a book. I don't know. Nice. I can't decide if I'd write a book about my life or I'd write a book about all the funny things that have happened through the years with closets and our customers.
That would be funny. I'd buy that. I would buy that. That would be a good one. That'd be a good one. So thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to Dana for connecting us. Um, can you tell us where we can find you?
Yes. Well, first, Stephanie, thanks for having me, and thanks to all your listeners. Um, you can find me at Jennifer, spelled traditionally, at stlouisclosetco.com. That's stlouisclosetco.com. And then our website is www.stlouisclosetco.com. If any of your listeners have any questions, feel free to email me. You can also just Google St. Louis Closet Co. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and YouTube.
Pinterest is a good one. That actually is a good
Pinterest.
one for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I got all excited about that. Thank you again for
Thank
joining
you,
us.
Stephanie.
And
Thank
please
you.
keep us posted on what's going on with the business.
Okay, we
Okay.
will.
Thank
Thanks.
you. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in today. As you can see, I told you this was going to be a good show because I learned something new today in an industry that I am not very familiar with, and I hope that you did too. Please join us back here again very soon. We don't have a guest next week, but we'll have a guest for the following week. So, stay tuned, keep watching, and we'll bring somebody in really soon to share more about the business owner's pivot plan. Y'all have a great day. Bye bye.